Hi, friends. Welcome back to Live at the Roxy on this Monday, April 5th, where we're feeling mischievous today. Did you guys see that Loki trailer? I hope so, because we're talking about it today on the show. We're not just talking about that, though. There is some shit going down with the airlines. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a couple of different stories that are taking place. Something going on with Spirit. I'll break it down. Something going on with United. I'll break it down. Just things going on in the air. Wave your hands in the air like you just don't care. Also, I wanted to mention that Kurt Cobain has officially been gone for as long as he was with us. 27 years he was on this planet, and it has been 27 years since he passed away. I cannot believe that. I can't even believe. So I'm about to be 30. So I was 3, not even 3. That is so wild, because he just was such a huge influence in music and art for me and a lot of people I know. So all of those things and more today, Live the Roxy, plus some inner circle things that we're going to have to address here on the show today, which we will save for the end of the show. So for the rock stars who stay all the way through, y'all will know what I'm talking about. And for the rest of you, then we will just get started with the actual show today. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer, super chat in, however you best can support. Remember that the Streamlabs, so much more percentage goes to me. Super chats are great, but 50% of it goes to YouTube. That is a rough number because they say somewhere above 30, but what we found out this last year is that they took 55% from us. So please make sure that you streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer, and super chat if you cannot, because I will take what support I can get. Speaking of the Streamlabs, I want to start in there today. And shout out to all of you guys who join me every single day. Recently, I've been going live Sunday through Friday, so just been taking Saturdays off. I'm not exactly sure if that will stick. Still trying to find my groove, trying to do one night show a week. Really want to be looking into the guest situation as well. So I'll keep you guys posted as this kind of morphs and changes. Just taking my time finding the new iteration of this show. I also talked about doing possible mini series. So we will speak about all of that and more as I make those decisions. But for now, I want to hear from you guys. Noah in the house at 4:59 this morning. That's right after the earthquake hit, Noah. Yes, that's right. If you live in LA, you know what I'm talking about. At 4:45, there was an earthquake. I woke up in a puddle of my own sweat. It was insane. I had a horrible night last night, and I woke up dripping to an earthquake. Talk about fucking startling. Noah says, just an aside, I'm not Zombie Jesus. It's Lick King Jesus. He's a fucking undead wizard. Put some respect on his name. LOL. I have no idea what that means, Noah, but I dig you. So dope. Weston Ira says, the most recent 2020 rivalry by Wikipedia's parent organization, found that 80% of its editors are men. The survey did not ask about race, but almost half live in Europe and 1/5 in North America. That's troubling. Texas's, I don't know what that's in regards to, Weston Ira. Texas's lieutenant governor suggests grandparents are willing to die for U.S. economy, and Arkansas governor vetoes bill that would ban gender-conforming treatments for minors. I'm glad you didn't need The Rock to come rescue you after those earthquakes. Thanks. Yeah, the earthquakes were okay. At this point in LA, we've certainly dealt with more, bigger, badder, worser. I know that's not a word. In the super chat, Evan Hooker says, how can someone who's so high still be single? This is the question we have to ask ourselves here live with Roxy every day. We don't know. I'm actually not high at all right now, but that is a me problem. That's a me problem. Jason Freeman says, not excited about a Loki standalone show. He's great when paired with Thor, but outside of that, I don't get the appeal. Just my opinion. Whoa, Jason, hot take McGee. Love hot takes here on the show. We will talk all about Loki momentarily, and I would love to hear more takes like that, so make sure you Streamlabs them in. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Glenn Caesar says Miles Cosgrove, Brett Hankinson, Jonathan Mattingly arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. All 3 of them for killing Breonna Taylor. Hope today is the day. Justice for all the people who've lost their lives due to excessive force. Hashtag say their names. Hello and good afternoon, Roxy, and all your nicknames. Thanks for always being here and there for us, RJ, and everyone who shows up to give all their support whenever, however they can when it gets tough. Even if you're by yourself, you're not alone. Everyone who's battling, keep on fighting. You're a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. You're kind, you're smart, you're unique, and being so unselfishly loving and supportive of strangers or others, including strangers on the internet or not, makes you worthy. Your story is important and deserves to be seen and heard. I appreciate that, Glenn. And I think that about all of your stories in here, every single one of you. So thank you for sharing that. Glenn also says, let's go Smets and everyone fighting for today, tomorrow, and more. Smash cancer all day or a day. Be most excellent. RJ, rock stars, show up for people who need it. Makes you dope as fuck, humane and worthy. Cheers to fuck yeah news and laughter for us all. Yes to all of that. Yes to all of that. Thank you for everybody who is sending support in. I appreciate y'all. And I'm really excited to talk about this trailer. So let me know what it is you guys think. I have to say, I was kind of blown away by this trailer. It's wild that so far, what we saw from WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and now this Loki trailer, we have seen such three tonally different shows. WandaVision was the sitcom medley. That also was a witchy show. Then we have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is really an MCU core show, but that's also dealing a lot with racism in America and classism as well, and position of power in government. So that's been wild. And then Loki looks like this truly mischievous, bizarro, otherworldly show. And so I'm really loving that they're trying to hit us in all different directions. Like, WandaVision's for you, cool. If not, no worries. We got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And if that's for you, cool. If not, no worries. We've got Loki. And if that's not for you, cool. Then we got She-Hulk. And if that's not for you, they just are giving us so many options that at this point, there's really no excuse not to like anything in the MCU, because how? There's so many different tones, so many different characters. I love Loki as a character in general. You guys know that I feel very, very strongly about characters that are wild cards, or maybe you don't know that. I love wild card characters. So Loki really speaks to me because when you've created a character that we believably as an audience don't know what they're going to do in certain situations, because just like that in life, we have friends like that. We have family members like that where you just don't know what they're going to do. They're wild card people. And can those people be your go-to, the people you rely on all the time? No, but is it cool to know a few of them? Yeah, because you just are surprised, and variety is the spice of life. So, as we're watching this, and there's that line in the trailer, like, how when he says, "I'm never going to backstab you," I'm not going to turn on you, and Owen Wilson's like, "I've watched you backstab people thousands of times," and he says, "Yeah, but I'm not going to do it again." And I don't know whether that's true or not. I kind of believe him every time, but also don't believe him ever. So it's just really. They've made a character that I love to watch. And so I would watch him do anything. And now in this show, we get to see him try to right his wrongs or right the wrongs. We get to watch the MCU do what it does really well with comedy, where this isn't a sitcom, but we've definitely got that humor underlying in every situation. I loved the way that Owen Wilson looked in this. I thought they did a great job with that. And I'm excited to see him and Loki kind of work together, but also Loki really only works for Loki. Loki only does what Loki wants to do. And I love mischievous people. I love to watch mischievous people. That wild card it factor is so super duper there for me. All the places that we visited looked really, really cool and aesthetically pleasing. So yeah, I'm really into this Loki trailer, and I was excited for the show because I love Loki, but I was also very nervous for the show because I was like, what is the Loki show even going to be? And now it's not that we know that much more about it, but we know enough for me to know that I really want to see this. So Glenn says, LOL, Roxy, Loki has literally stabbed people in the back at least 50 times. I know. That's what I'm saying. But that's so cool. That's so cool. Not to stab people in the back, but to watch a character that we cannot trust. And the only thing we can trust is that we can't trust him. But sometimes he does work in our favor. Just really, really good stuff. So what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts on the Loki trailer. Streamlabs and streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. Super chat in as well. Glenn Caesar says, yeah, Roxy, lots of movie trailers in the past few days. Space Jam 2, The Black Widow, and now Loki. I'm okay with Space Jam 2, but the Black Widow and Loki trailers, oh, shit. That's what I'm talking about. Let's fucking go. Bring it all on. I am ready. I'm so happy to hear that. You're not into Space Jam 2? You said that it's, you're okay with it. I'm really excited for Space Jam 2. A new guy in here, a new guy in the Streamlabs. Love to see a new guy. I haven't been able to catch you live since like last June. Excited to be here today. Excited to have you, a new guy. Thanks for joining us and thanks for your support. Apollo 3JP in the Streamlabs says, fam, how you doing? How's your Monday? Hot tizzy here. The Loki trailer looked good, but overall, these Marvel shows have been a profound letdown. Whoa, Apollo, I think you are definitely in the minority here. As much as I actually wasn't obsessed with the direction that WandaVision ended up taking, even though I loved the first part of WandaVision, I wouldn't say that it was a letdown. I think most people really liked it. It just wasn't necessarily for me all of the way, even though Wanda's my favorite character. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I didn't love the first episode, but the second episode was wildly good. And the third episode was great as well. And I love the direction we're going in. So I'm surprised to hear you say that. But actually I'm not, because you're Apollo. So honestly kind of sounds in line. Anybody surprised that Apollo is not a fan of the Marvel shows so far? Kind of checks out. Maybe Loki's the one for you. Apollo, to be honest, if you are any MCU character, it is Loki. Apollo is kind of Loki. And if you watch the show, I have a feeling you agree. Apollo, you're kind of hit or miss. We don't know if we can fully trust you. You're usually a good time. Then you throw in these major curveballs. I just don't know. You know, you go golfing and out of town to Vegas in a pandemic. We're not down with that. But then also you say some really nice things. You're a flip-flopper. You're a flip-flopper. Yeah. Apollo is Loki. You heard it here first. If y'all disagree with me, you can let me know. Let me know. Send that support and let's talk more about Loki if you guys have things to say. If not, I can get to that later on in the show, but let's talk a little bit about these airline situations. A lot of shit going down in the airlines. We can start with Spirit Air. This is a weird story, especially because there was footage that went along with it, but Spirit Airlines in general, it's not for me. If you've ever flown Spirit, then you know what it is like to sit on a piece of cardboard with your knees to your chin for however long your flight is. That's the truth. I'm not trying to get rid of any potential future sponsors here, but Spirit Airlines is really bad. You have to pay for every single part of it, including your seat, not just the flight. The seats are so wildly uncomfortable. The service is usually really bad. It's just awful. Usually people fly Spirit once. I've never met somebody who regularly flies Spirit. It's the pits of flying. If Spirit is the only flight available to get home, I fly a different day. I really try to avoid flying Spirit. So this is kind of funny to me because I already think of them as such a garbage airline. Doesn't mean they can never change, but it's a discount airline for a reason. And usually it's not even that much cheaper. It's just brutal. So what Spirit Airlines did this time was there was an Orthodox Jewish family, which I will say a lot of the headlines are starting with that, which I don't think is particularly right because, yes, this could have had something to do with the fact that they're Jewish. The father is wearing a yarmulke, but I didn't get that sense I didn't get that vibe from what was happening, but you don't know. I don't know. There's so much anti-Semitism in this country that it's just hard for me to even know when that's what's going on. But a lot of the headlines are saying Jewish family. And so what's happening is there's a Jewish family on the plane, and it is a woman who is pregnant. I went like this in case you guys can't see she's pregnant. A woman who's pregnant with a baby on her lap who is 2 years old. So I guess maybe that would be a toddler. A child who is next to her. I don't know how old that child is. And the father at some point says out that the child, I think he says a special needs child, I think is what the verbiage she used, and the father. So they're taking up a row of 3, and the baby is sitting on the mom's lap. And so the child, the dad, and the mom all have masks on. And the toddler is eating yogurt. This is before the flight takes off, and doesn't have a mask on and is eating yogurt, and is literally 2 on the mom's lap. And a flight attendant comes over and tells them, this is the part that we see taped. The flight attendant comes over and tells them that they need to get off the plane, or she's going to have the police come escort them out. And from this point forward, the dad immediately is like, no. He's like, no, we are all wearing our masks. We're all complying. The rule is that if the kid is under 5, they don't need to wear a mask. Why are we getting kicked off this plane? Somebody explain to me why we're getting kicked off this plane. Can somebody talk? I mean, can you get your manager? Because we don't deserve to get kicked off this plane. I will say, as he's saying this, he's lowering his mask to talk. I wish that he hadn't done that. He continuously does that when he's talking to her. I understand, as somebody who is a habitual mask wearer during this time, when you are frustrated, it sometimes feels like maybe it's instinctual if there's anything on your face to pull it down. But several times he pulls it down to talk, and I wish he didn't do that, because that's where I feel like this is kind of finicky, because and nobody else is talking about that part online, but to the flight attendant, that's disrespectful for you to be doing. You should keep your mask on the whole time. And it's always around his face, but he lowers it down past his nose at times. But anyway, they insist that this family gets off, trying to kicking him off. And then the video cuts and all the posts go crazy that they were kicked off the plane. I guess what then happened was, after they were kicked off the plane, whatever happened was that they were brought back on the plane, and the flight attendant that was responsible for trying to kick them off was kicked off the plane. And the family so then they reboarded the entire plane, with this family included, without the flight attendant who had tried to get them off of the plane. So it was kind of wild. I think it's the first time we've seen them in real time, an airline realize, we're looking at the tweets right now. This is going public right now. We are in a social media firestorm, and we should fix this before we take off, because if we don't get this family back on, I mean, the father was like, when the flight attendant says we're going to get the police, the father says, then I'm going to get my lawyer. And I think they realized they probably had a lawsuit at hand, and they didn't want to deal with that. And on top of that, they were concerned that they were in the wrong, because according to them, if you are a kid under 5, you don't need to have the mask. And the kid was wearing the mask, except for when they were eating the yogurt. And on top of that, it wasn't even, and on top of that, the mom is pregnant too. It was just a bad situation. Pink Sweet says, I didn't know about the flight attendant. Wasn't even her fault though. She told to do this by somewhere higher. So she wasn't the one kicked off the plane. It's her boss that was kicked off the plane, who is a guy, I believe, from what we saw from photos. So that seems to be what the situation is. At least that's what Twitter tells me at this point. And that's kind of wild. I will say that I don't believe that this family should have been kicked off the plane, especially if they were being discriminated against. It's hard to say, if he wasn't wearing his yarmulke and she wasn't, she was covered. Her head wasn't covered, but she was wearing long clothes covering her skin. So it was very it's hard to say that this has nothing to do with the fact that they're Jewish, because it was so apparent that they're Jewish. A lot of people, they'll say people like look Jewish. Obviously, as a Jew, I have been discriminated in the past for looking Jewish, and I'm putting for audio listeners, I'm putting this in quotes, when I don't even know that I quote unquote look Jewish. But people can say all different things. But in this situation, he's wearing his yarmulke. Obviously he looks like he can be identified as a Jew. So that adds a hard element to the story, especially as it was blowing up on social media, and every headline is saying Jewish family, Jewish family, Jewish family. Yeah, it was actually one of the first times I have seen the internet do that. I know this sounds weird, but I think because us Jews are so loud and vocal for ourselves because of what's happened in the past, no one else ever stands up for us, ever. There's actually a lot of people that talk about this, and I wish I came more prepared with statistics. I didn't know I was going to get into this, and I will for next time, but that we are like, in terms of hate crimes, we are one of the absolute most affected groups and the least spoken about socially, publicly, and social media and otherwise. And I think that one of the reasons is because Jewish people come to other Jews' defense so loudly and so quickly that maybe other people don't feel like they need to, as opposed to right now, in the Asian community. I think that the community, these are vast generalizations, but is a more quiet community. And so a lot of other people are standing up for that community, which is great in what we should be doing as a society. But a lot of people don't stand up for Jews. So this is one of the first times I have seen non-Jewish people standing up for Jewish people by identifying something and not calling it a hate crime, but saying like, this is a Jewish family, implying that might be why they're being picked on, which was interesting to see because we just don't see that very often. So I don't know actually whether that had anything to do with this, but I do know everybody on the plane said this family was wearing their masks the entire time. This is crap. Like, all the passengers sided with this family. And that was interesting to see also. So that was one of the pieces of drama that has been going down with the airlines. Let me see if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, Streamlabs, anything about that or anything else we've been talking about today. Otherwise, I will move forward. Yeah, a couple things going on here. Oh, thank you guys. Appreciate you. Katie the Good Witch in the house. Yes, Katie. Katie says super stoked for Loki. Huge fan of time travel shows. And so far, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Disney has been nailing it with these new series. I'm so glad you think so, Katie. At the same time, there will have to be a dud eventually, and it'll be interesting to see where they finally drop the ball. Yeah, people say that, but like, does there? I don't know. Adrian Bailey says, "Hi, Roxy. How are you doing? I have had a really crappy weekend." Oh, I'm sorry. I have felt this low in a long time. Maybe I haven't felt this low in a long time. Just seeing your smile is worth it all. You're one of the best, Roxy. I hope things get better soon. I can't take anymore. I love you. Thanks. I feel you. I have had quite a troublesome weekend as well. Something really not great happened to me. And yeah, just trying to make my way through. And I feel you. I think things are changing and shifting. And as we get back into society, things are going to feel weird and whatnot. But we definitely are here. So thanks, Adrian, for sharing. And we've got you. Glenn Caesar says, "Roxy, I like LeBron James. I'm a fan of Space Jam 2. I thought the trailer was good, hence my it's okay. I find myself kind of wishing that they focused on the Looney Tunes like Space Jam 1. That's so funny because when I see SJ, I think Screen Junkies because we talk SJ for work for years. So you said SJ1. I thought Screen Junkies 1. But it's fine. It's just the Black Widow and Loki trailers are fire. I'm on fire up in here. Yeah, I feel you on that. They are fire. So just by comparison, I know what you mean, what you mean. All right. So moving on from that airline story, I'm curious if you guys have been seeing what's going on. I actually want to pull something up for it. But before I do that, let me just get to the super chat. Andrew Thomas says, "Hey, beautiful Roxy, Loki reminds me more of Marvel's Legends of Tomorrow or Doctor Who." I kind of feel you on that because just the chaoticness of it all, you don't know what's going to happen. And so it's nice to see that where you just simply don't know, which is what I don't know Doctor Who well, but that's like the Legends at the base of Legends, which is cool. So this is what United Airlines tweeted out. They said, "Our mission is to connect people and unite the world. We believe that one of the most effective ways to do this is to engage in the democratic process, which begins with voting, a vital civic duty. America's democracy is stronger when we're all engaged and every vote is properly counted. Some have questioned the integrity of the nation's election systems and are using it to justify stricter voting procedures, even though numerous studies have found zero credible evidence of widespread fraud in U.S. elections. Legislation that infringes on the right to vote or fellow Americans is wrong. We believe that leaders in both parties should work to protect the rights of eligible voters by making it easier and more convenient for them to cast a ballot and have it counted." I was so surprised that they tweeted this. So I think probably if you're in here, I think probably every one of us agrees with them. I think every one of us in here probably agrees that voting should be an easier process, whatever that looks like. Getting the day off of work, not needing your identification card, especially if you are in certain situations or circumstances, having something else that you can do. There's just a lot that if you're in here, you probably agree that there is that the voting system is kind of fucked and that this is not something that should be done right now, where we're making it harder and harder to vote, like what's going on in Georgia with their voter ID law, which requires people to have an ID in order to vote. So when I was looking at Twitter, all of the people that were tweeting that are conservative were tweeting like, "Ironic that United Airlines, a place in which you need an identification to fly, is condemning Georgia for needing identification to vote." When it's like, one of those things is a right, right? We have a right to vote. As citizens, you have a right to vote. And one of those things is not a right. You would like to fly. That has nothing to do with our constitutional rights. What the fuck? Are those people? I'm sorry. It's probably the worst argument I've ever heard in my entire life. It's just big sweets. Don't throw logic at them. I know it might break them. You guys are trying to say that because an airline requires identification to fly, that they can't say that our constitutional right to vote shouldn't require somebody be able to pay for identification for themselves? What? What the fuck? It just that logic is so ass backwards that sometimes I have a really hard time. I have a hard time talking to people because it's like, do you believe what you're saying? Because then I don't even know how to explain to you the difference between being able to fly, which is nice, and you get to go places and see your family and go on vacation. It's dope. It's fun. You could drive if you wanted to, take a boat. There are other things you could do, but it's great to be able to do. Woo, party, privilege. And to vote, which is your constitutional right for being a citizen. Those things are different. So I don't know where to start this conversation. I don't know. I don't know where to start that conversation. So it's not even the fact that some people, if you believe that you need an ID in order to vote, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. But that to me is not me sitting there being like, you're an illogical buffoon. But if you're going to compare it to needing an ID to fly, one of those is you're right for being a citizen. So there's just no, how do we converse? How do we converse when you think me having an ID to go to Florida for spring break is the same as me having an ID to vote for who's going to represent me? This is what? Okay, so I want to legitimately answer this question to Jeremy, and it would be a whole show if I answered the entire question, but I'm going to spend some time on it because, Jeremy, you're asking in a respectful way, so I'm going to respectfully try to answer this. Jeremy says, why wouldn't anybody have an ID? I don't see the problem. Everybody has an ID, so just show it. So, Jeremy, I don't know your upbringing or your past. It seems to me like probably the people that you are with in your life have access to their ID or have an ID. It's actually just not the case that everybody has an ID. That is not the situation. I can paint a couple of different situations for you in which somebody would not have an identification. So, number one, there's a lot of people who do not know their parents. I'm assuming that based on what you're saying, you grew up in a world in which you had a social security card that your parents kept for you and gave to you. And, when you turned 16, you went to go get your learner's permit. And when you turned 18, you got a driver's license. And all of that was relatively easy for you to do. And I'm not sure that that's the case with you. And it might not be the case with you, but that seems based on what you're saying. There's a lot of people who, A, can't afford an identification because IDs are pricey. B, don't have the materials that were kept for you probably by your parents. My parents kept a box in our house and they kept all my stuff in it, and they kept my birth certificate and they kept my social security card. And when I needed to go do those things, my loving parents, who also had enough money for me to take driver's ed and go get my license, those people made it so that I do have an ID. And for me, getting an ID was easy. But for people who are homeless, sick, poor, not educated, don't even know what the steps to be getting an ID would be, all of that would make it so that somebody might not have an identification. I thought you were being respectful, Jeremy, but now I'm looking and you're not listening to me, and you're just all capital writing right now. So I don't know why you're yelling, because I was just trying to explain to you some of the situations in which somebody might not have an ID, because you asked me a question on my show, youtube.com/Roxy Stryer. Just reminding everybody, my show, my name on the title, that's me right there, live at the Roxy. And so then I was just explaining, and now you're all caps yelling at us, which is an interesting choice. But that's why this is exactly what I'm talking about. When people are reasonable, I'm always willing to explain things and talk to them and listen as well. But when people start doing things like, but you need an ID to fly. Okay. And I'm so sorry to do this, but it's been a long time since we've used Katie as the new Karen. Is Jeremy the new Katie, new Karen? Like, do we take Jeremy? Jeremy Baramy. I'm not trying to be a bitch, but like, doesn't it sound like that? Like, is Jeremy the new Katie, the new Karen? Because we've already decided that Katie the Good Witch is the good one. So it's been too long. Maybe Jeremy is the new. I think it's Jeremy. And it's about time it's a dude. Sorry to the Jeremys out there. Some of you guys are probably dope. But it might be a Jeremy situation. We'll think on it. Katie said, I'd be cool if someone else got the new Karen name. Because Katie, you're always gonna be Katie Goodwitch now. We already know this. We just know. So bye-bye, Jeremy. Bye-bye, Jeremy. We will not miss you in your caps lock issue. Yeah. I love it. Thank you guys for when the trolls come in here and I get to unleash a little bit of my inner turmoil and anger. Let's go back into the Streamlabs. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Stryer. A new guy in here. Thanks, a new guy again for showing up. Says, who from Loki do we think will be Mephisto? I think Luke Wilson will make a cameo as him. Is that what people are thinking? I mean, I don't know. But remember, Mephisto's showing up in WandaVision. Mephisto's showing up in WandaVision. Mephisto's showing up in WandaVision. Where the fuck Mephisto at? I don't know. I'm trying not to speculate too much. Pink Sweet says, oh, hi. I recently saw a movie called Shiva Baby. My dad just called me about this. And it was great. Not just recommending it because you're Jewish, LOL, but because I think you mentioned loving uncut gems and similar vibe to that. Straight anxiety. I loved it. Haha. Have a good day. So my dad just called me about this. This is about the girl who finds like a sugar daddy at a Shiva, right? That's interesting. In my script, I do a Shiva thing too, which most people don't even know what Shiva is. So that's exciting to me. And I heard the director of it is 24 years old, which is awesome. I got to know more. But that sounds exciting. And thank you for recommending it. Where did you watch it? I want to find it. G. Smith says, Georgia isn't doing voter ID laws. They're further limiting voter location in Black communities, voting times, and making it illegal to give water to anyone waiting in lines. It's not about IDs. Thank you, G. Smith. I thought that it was also about IDs, that's what they were trying to pass. Am I wrong? I thought that it had to do with that as well. I could be wrong, though, and thank you for correcting me if I am, G. Smith. I knew about those other things as well. There was a lot of different aspects to it. And that is what people are trying to do. When you're trying to keep people from voting, really what you're trying to do is keep a specific group of people from voting. Because people who really believe in democracy believe that everybody should vote. I mean, it's so crazy how nitpicky we've gotten with things. It's like, everybody should vote. And people are like, but what about people without IDs? Everyone who's a citizen should vote. But what about people who went to prison? Everyone who is a citizen should vote. But what about people who... Are you hearing? Like, all of the people, whatever you look like, if you are a citizen, no matter how much money you have, no matter what you've done, if you are a citizen of the United States, you should be able to vote because it's a democracy. So everyone should be able to vote, and then they should use that right to do so. So it's just a lot of excuses. Like, do you guys remember my friend Jeff Dye? He does this bit that I've seen that I love, where he's like talking about Jesus coming. I'm going to butcher it, but he talks about Jesus, Jesus today, and Jesus being like, love everyone. And then people being like, yeah, but what about people who are whatever, like some minority or queer or whatever. And Jesus is like, no, love everyone. And then people are like, yeah, but what about people who are, and Jesus just keeps being like, love everyone. Like, are people not listening? Are you not listening? If you are a citizen, you should be able to vote. And I believe, because I believe in democracy, that if you believe in something completely different than me, you should still be allowed to vote because you're a citizen. So do I like people do I like when people are anti whatever my rights are? No, I think that fucking sucks. But you still have a right to vote. I'm not trying to keep anybody from voting no matter what they believe. Because that's the country that we live in. That's democracy. So everyone should be allowed to vote. If you are a citizen, it is your right. This is so weird that we keep being like, unless you do this, or if you have this. Huh? What? Why? Says who? What are all these little... What? The fuck? What the fuck? So, Those are my thoughts on that, which have nothing to do with Loki. Yeah. So glad that I got to stick that little song in there. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Streamlabs.com/Roxy Strider super chat in as well. A couple of you guys have done so, and I appreciate that. Apollo3JP says, for sure, I can roll with that. I'd say I have the mischievous unpredictability of Loki, the body and physique of Thor, Avi, and the charm/mind of Tony Stark. I said what I said. Let's fucking go. It's kind of a Loki comment to say. Yeah, Apollo, be honest with me. Is it a joke or do you really have the body of Thor? Just be honest with me. Because I'm sure you believe you have the charm and mind of Tony and that you're mischievous like Loki, but this is either you do or you don't. Is your body like Thor's? Just tell the people the truth. Leonard Kim in the Streamlabs says, hey, Dimple Tits. Hello, Leonard. I hope that you're doing well. How was your last night of Passover? Thank you. I'm not sure if there's anything special you do to celebrate the final night. No, really, it's about first Seder and second Seder. So those had already happened. And I wasn't able to really participate in Passover this year. I didn't even have any matzo ball soup or brisket. That's the first time in my whole life. I probably will get some this week just to catch up. I'm not sure if there's anything special to do. I was already excited for Loki, and the new trailer only fueled my hype. The hair, it looks gorgeous. Thanks, honey. Appreciate you always, Leonard Kim. You are great. Thank you for spreading the love. You are awesome. And you're super duper not a Jeremy. And I do feel bad because I think I'm learning that JRMEATXC is your name, Jeremy? Jeremy. Is that really what's happening? That's why you don't like you don't like us switching from Karen to Katie to Jeremy? And they're all a little different. You know, like Karen, we decided was like the girl in the park, right? Katie, not the good witch, the other kind, we decided was just like, you know, the worst version, the elevated version of that. And Jeremy's just kind of an asswipe. Like, oh, he's such a Jeremy. You know? He says, my name is Jeremy. All right, we need a name that's none of your guys' name. Because Jeremy is too cool. We need a new one. Somebody invent a name. A name like, you know, like Siri or something where nobody really has it. Paul through JP says, seriously answering, absolutely. Apollo, you're ripped. I would not have guessed that. I still don't know if I believe it. Can you tweet us a picture? Can you at the World Girls tweet a picture of your abs? If you do that, then I will put in a good word with Steph. I'll try. So, yeah, I'll try. Ass wipe. Isn't it an ass wipe? That's the term, right? I think so. Katie says, does anyone remember Carlos? Yeah, I remember Carlos. Pussy. Carlos was so great. We miss Carlos. Where's Carlos? Oh, it's so frustrating. Yeah, Chad's a thing. Wait, I don't get it, Pink Sweets. Oh my God, Roxy, what the fuck have you done? What did I do? What'd I do? Oh no. Probably something bad. Get him, D. Get him. Jimmy Nails in the Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/Roxy Strider says, on a happier political note, the governor in Arkansas didn't sign the anti-trans youth healthcare bill that was on his desk today. Hell yeah. Regarding Georgia, the last few years has proven to me that most jingoistic people, I don't know what that is, jingoistic people understand what it is to be American less. What's jingoistic? Is that a word I just don't know? That happens to me all the time. Y'all know that. Okay, let's see. Jingoistic is characterized by extreme patriotism, especially in the form of aggressive or warlike foreign policy. Yeah, I really don't know that word. My bad. I just don't know it. Sorry. How will we know if the real Apollo, though, is if he tweets the abs? So, Apollo, we're going to know it's you because you have to hold up a sign that says, hi, it's me, Apollo. And then we'll know you didn't get it off the internet. And that's how we'll know. So, yeah. I mean, we don't body shame here, so we don't care what shape or size anybody is. I'm just saying, if you're going to claim you have the body of Thor, then you got to be able to back that shit up. That's what I'm saying. Stop, Roxy, stop. Ryan, why? What's happening? What is happening? We got to know. These are the things we have to know. In life, sometimes you have to know things. And this is just one of them. It just is. All right. A couple of things that we are talking. Big Mo says, Roxy, come on, stop. LOL. Why? Wait, what's happening? Why are you guys telling me to stop? What am I doing? My show. I get to ask for the abs if we want the abs. Unless I did something wrong. Apollo disappears now. Adrian, totally. John G says, don't feed the animals. G Smith says, wait, Endgame Thor? Great question. Great question. That's what I like to hear. So, I guess he could use a friend's body. That would be an aggressive ask, though. And honestly, we'll see. We'll see what he does with this. Let's just see what he does. He's disappeared as of now. Disappeared. Weston says Roxy can absolutely ask Apollo whatever she wants. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to absolutely ask him. I told you guys the other thing that I just briefly wanted to mention was about Kurt Cobain. I said it a little bit at the top, but 27 years ago he died, and he was only on the planet for 27 years. It is so crazy how much time flies, and when you affect people to the extent that he has in the industry that he was in, but really just, there's that 27 Club, and just so many people, I think, connect to him and feel his pain and his art. And I'm a huge Kurt Cobain fan, and I think that it is really prevalent today because as our awareness and ability to talk about our mental health is going up, what should be happening, which is not, because it's going the opposite direction. But what my hope is, especially in this community and communities like this, is that suicide rates should be going down, and overdosing rates should be going down. And when you know better, and there's all these ways to connect to other people, I would like to think that we are able to take our past mistakes and that we're able to live and learn and grow. And during this time, I know this is a roller coaster of a show, but we are here, and I'm here, and I think you guys know that. And I kind of wanted to use that as a transition to talk about something with the rock stars for a second. Before I do that, just so that we can get a little levity for a second. Chris Mason says, I thought you gals found Apollo's social media before. Did you? I haven't found it. I must know more. Somebody send it to me. And all of this, guys, you guys know, all of this isn't good fun, because Apollo's a rock star. He really is. He might be a little different than some of the rock stars, but he is. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about is treating each other with kindness. I have gotten several messages over the last year, but especially in the last 24 hours. And for those of you guys who are in I'm going to call it the core of the rock stars. And I'm not saying that if you show up here all the time, then you're at the fucking core of the rock stars. But, there's a bunch of people who get on Zooms together all the time. And, we were even hearing from the World Friends that people fall asleep on the phone together or whatever it is. And I'm sure a lot of us can't wait to meet up. And a lot of us, even the people who just show up here, and all the names I'm seeing right now, you guys know each other and care about each other the way that I care about you guys as well. But what's really hard is to be at the center of this, at the nucleus of this, which I am, because I started this community. And so I take a lot of responsibility for this community and how we treat each other and how we treat ourselves. A lot of that's on me. And that is something that I am so grateful for. And I'm so happy about, because for the most part, you guys really are so incredible to one another and helpful to one another. And I'm grateful for that. That being said, I'm hearing that there's some turmoil going on, and I'm not here to single anybody out or name names or talk specific situations. But here's what I will say. You guys know that everybody is welcome in this community, except for people who are not welcoming to others of this community. And that is where it kind of starts and stops. And I know that people always want to blame the other party. Everybody thinks that they're in the right at first. But I'm really hoping that people can take a step back. And this is for you guys in your life in general. Take a step back and always ask, what can I do better? What can I do to be a better friend, a better ally, a better partner? And where did I possibly hurt somebody else? I think that we all are coming from different places in life. And some of us can't see beyond the fact that we're hurting and it feels like somebody's attacking us. But I'm going to say 99% of the time, things are two-sided. And, I'm hearing that I saw a comment that somebody else said that somebody couldn't afford to do something because they were too poor. Like a public comment. Another rock star couldn't afford something because they couldn't afford YouTube, not skip ads, to not skip the ads because they were too poor. That's disgusting. And anybody who allows that kind of talk, you have to look at yourself. I heard that one of the rock stars said to another rock star that they were acting like an angry black man. That's disgusting and not acceptable here. And so I would ask any of you guys to look at yourselves and not take this in anger. Take this from where it really is coming from, which is that you're not going to like everybody. You're not going to immediately connect with everybody. But to be here, you have to respect everybody. You have to. And you can't be here if you don't respect everybody. And if you start poking at somebody's finances or the way they look or how they're born, I'm never going to be okay with that. And that's unacceptable in this community. So I'm really hoping that these people can find common ground. And I'm not asking anybody to be best friends. But we do need to have a level of respect here so that everybody can exist. Because you all deserve to be here. You all deserve to have friends and family, and during this time have each other and me. And that's the community that we have created. And so if you can't step back enough to figure out where you can grow as a person, how you can educate yourself, and how you can do the best you can and show up here and love and respect the fellow rock stars, then this isn't a good place for you. And it breaks my fucking heart when I hear about any of these stories. And I hear about a lot of behind the scenes things because you guys know I'm close with a lot of you guys, and I want to make sure, I'm not a hands-off YouTuber. I'm not one of these people who posts videos, goes and leaves, looks at the views, doesn't look at the comments. Like, you guys know I care about you. So I'm not the kind of person who doesn't want to know. I like to know what's going on with you guys in your lives. And a lot of you guys have messaged me about hurting yourselves and about not being able to get through these times. And people are struggling and people are in fucking pain. And I don't want any of you guys adding to each other's pain. It's okay if somebody's not your best friend. I can't expect there's 165 of you guys in here right now. You're not all going to be best friends. You're not cut from the same cloth. You're not all going to be best friends. But you all have to have a certain amount of love for each other, and that's enough love to respect each other. So that's what I'll say, and hopefully that resonates. Janine, my babe, in here says, I know I've been through that. Even if the other side isn't receptive to your effort to understand their side, you got to try for yourself, as hard as that may be. Absolutely. Even if your first instinct is, but I'm in the right, which I think all the time. You guys know me. I'm an East Coast Jew. Every argument I ever get in, I'm like, but I'm fucking right. And then I think about, okay, number one, but do I want to be right, or do I want this to be right? Do I want to make this right, or do I want to be right? And very rarely does it matter that I am right. What matters is that I make people feel good, and that we find common ground, and all of that. And I also don't want anybody to take away that something really like horrific is happening here and now everything is crumbling. This is truly, truly, the World Friends and the Rock Stars are the best community on the internet. You guys are legends. You guys are incredible. You guys have helped each other out of serious, horrible trauma and awful things. You guys have been there for each other's high moments too, and to celebrate each other's successes when we're booking roles, when we book jobs, when we have children, or positive things with our spouses. Not our spouses, I don't have one, but y'all spouses. All of those things, you guys have been there. So it's an incredible community. But in order to maintain that community, we have to have conversations like these sometimes. So please, everybody, just look at yourself and ask yourself, what can you do to be the best version of you? And how can we not be right, but make it right? Whatever that looks like. So I hope that helps. And I love you guys. And I want everybody who's here, especially those of you guys who've been in it with us. We've been in this for over a year, every day. It's a long time, and tensions are high, and there's a lot going on. So I'll keep an eye on everything. And that doesn't mean I'm not sitting here like fucking spying on y'all, but I care about you guys a lot. And I don't want anybody to be hurting. I can't help that you guys are going to be hurting from life, but I can help how this community treats each other. And so if life is kicking all of our asses, this is the place that we come to feel okay. And I need it to be that for me. And I know that you guys need it to be that for you. So on that note, it is such a roller coaster show, guys. It really is. I am going to get out of here. So I will be back tomorrow live at the Roxy. Hopefully doing it just at normal time, 1:00. And yeah, I'll be back. So much love to all of you guys. Don't forget about the toilet seat and the lid. We got to put it down because of the flumes. It's a very big deal. Make your beds. We also know that can change lives. I know y'all don't believe me all the time. Don't trend with the Holocaust. This is something that we now apparently have to mention all the time. Brett, Miles, Jonathan arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. All three of them for killing Breonna Taylor. Still something that we have to fucking say on this show because justice still has not been served. And blow on your internet. In line with the roller coaster show. You gotta, if there's an issue with the internet, just try blowing on it. See if it helps. See what that can do. Love you guys a lot. Treat each other with kindness. Thank you for treating me with that kindness. Stay safe, stay sane, and I'll see you tomorrow live at the Roxy.